administration. He holds a PhD in software engineering from the University of Electronic Science and Technology in China. He holds an MSc in Advanced Computer Networking from Glasgow Caledonian University in the UK. He also holds a BSc in Computer Science from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. His research expertise includes information security, cryptography, artificial intelligence, and deep learning. As a renowned cryptographer, he designs innovative public cryptographic algorithms and secures AI systems. He aims to drive innovative solutions for Ghana and Africa's unique challenges. He is passionate about shaping Ghana's tech future, building local expertise, and mentoring the next generation of tech leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Emmanuel Enchi Boisiaku, a round of applause for him. Okay, so as Doctor has also taken his seat, let's go to our next panelist. He is a senior manager with the Cybersecurity Authority of Ghana, where he leads operation at the National Computer Emergency Response Team. He has contributed significantly to Ghana's cybersecurity development by serving in various capacities on a number of strategic initiatives, including the development of Ghana's Cybersecurity Act 2020, the review of Ghana's cybersecurity policy and strategy, development of Ghana's incident response ecosystem, deployment of cybersecurity or cybersecurity incident reporting points of contact, among many others. These initiatives have contributed to Ghana's ranking as a Tier 1 model country on the International Telecommunications Union Cybersecurity Index. He holds MSc in Digital Forensics and Cybersecurity and is a certified ethical hacker. He is also a certified threat intelligence analyst and a certified incident responder. Known for blending his technical depth and strategic vision, he is passionate about advancing cybersecurity resilience across Africa and the world. He is a regular contributor to capacity building efforts and regional collaboration initiatives. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Isaac Socrates Mensah, a round of applause for him. And moving on from him, we also have another amazing man. He is an internet governance and public policy advocate with expertise in consulting, research, academia, open data, and community network. He has served as the Secretariat Manager for the 2024 WSIS Ethical Dimensions of the Information Society Champion Award winner, Africa, and then he has played a number of significant roles in the domain name system, DNS security, internet connectivity, open data, and AI governance. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the Director for Public Policy and Compliance, Ghana Domain Name Registry. With a round of applause, let's welcome Mr. Kweku Enchi. As Mr. Entry has also taken his seat, let's continue. This man is a senior consultant and a cyber strategy and transformation expert at Deloitte, Ghana, where he provides strategic leadership in offensive security, cyber reliance, and digital risk transformation. With over 7 years of progressive experience, he has led and executed advanced penetrating testing, red teaming, infrastructure security assessment across critical sectors including finance, telecommunications, government, healthcare, and energy. He applies globally recognized frameworks such as OWASP, amongst many others, to strengthen organizational defenses and safeguard digital assets against emerging threats. His work actively supports Ghana's efforts to advance cyber maturity, protect critical information, and reinforce digital sovereignty. He holds a multiple industry-recognized certificates, including Certified Penetration Tester Specialist, Certified Bug Bounty Hunter, Certified API Security Analyst, Microsoft Azure Security Engineer, Microsoft Azure Administrator, and Cyber Threat Intelligence Analyst, underscoring his commitment to cybersecurity excellence and resilience. Ladies and gentlemen, he is a senior consultant with the Cyber Strategy and Transformation Department at Deloitte, Ghana. Mr. Emmanuel Owusu-Wampong is his name. A round of applause for him. And to round it all up on our panelists this afternoon, this man is a dedicated security and intelligence analyst with expertise in national security policy, cyber security, and virtual persona operations. He is the head of the Security Operations Center of the National Signals Bureau. He holds an MA in Peace, Security, and Intelligence from UPSA, also an MBA in Oil and Gas Management from the University of Petroleum and Energy Studies in India. He also holds a postgraduate certificate in intelligence analysis from the University of Maryland, USA. He also holds a BSc in telecommunications engineering from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Ghana. Also certifications from the Carnegie Mellon University, University of Colorado, and Stanford University. Additionally, he is a GAEC Certified Forensic Examiner and GAEC Certified Penetration Tester. He is passionate about capacity building, advancement of cybersecurity awareness, and promotion of technology-driven solutions to enhance national security. He is the head of the Security Operations Center of the National Signals Bureau. Ladies and gentlemen, with a resounding round of applause, let's welcome Mr. Joseph Michaels as he takes a seat. So ladies and gentlemen, I leave you in the hands of Ellie as he takes over the panel. Enjoy.
Thank you so much. Once again, welcome to our panel discussion for BRCTF 2025. Before we proceed, participants, if you are here and you registered for the adversarial training, please could you proceed to the registration desk? They just want to see you for a few minutes. Thank you. All right. So good afternoon once again. A warm welcome to all our panelists, and welcome to you, our audience. My name is Eli Bashan. I'm a cybersecurity consultant and an incident response specialist, simply put DFIR. I'll be your moderator for today. Today we'll be delving into a topic that affects all of us, whether you are students, whether you are professionals, business owners, or just everyday users of technology. We'll be looking at digital sovereignty. And please don't let the name scare you. It would be as practical as possible. Thank you. All right, so before we begin, I'm just going to just do a quick exercise before we even begin to engage the panel. Please raise your hands here if you've ever watched a movie or a series where hacking looks so cool, and the thought that came to mind is that I want to be like this when I grow up. If you are here and you ever watched any movie like that, CSI, whatever, just, can we see your hands? Please raise it high. We want to see it. I want all the panelists to see it. All right, great. Awesome. Awesome. Please, could you still raise your hands? The next group of people is, please raise your hands if you or someone you know has ever received a suspicious mobile money message or a phishing link, or you've been a victim of a scam. Please raise your hands. All right. So it seems we have almost everybody's hand up. All right. And so it means you are at the right place, and this panel discussion is going to address some of these concerns and guide you towards being a better ethical hacker, or even diving into other areas of cybersecurity you didn't know. All right, great. So, thank you once again, panelists. I think I'll be beginning from my immediate left. That's Mr. Emmanuel, and we'll just follow as we go on. All right. So, Mr. Emmanuel Owusu Ampong, you've been in the deep trenches, from red teaming banks to pen testing the resilience of national systems. When you look at Ghana's cybersecurity posture today, do you think we are preparing enough for the kinds of sophisticated attacks you simulate? For instance, if a coordinated ransomware attack hit multiple ministries tomorrow, are we truly ready beyond the paper policies?
All right, thank you very much for the question. I think this is a very important question.
Hello.
It's a very important question to ask. As a nation, I'll say there are some controls we have that is actually securing our systems, but I think we can do better. I'll say it that way. Okay, so if you look at like the CSA these days or lately, there are some control policies that has been implemented by the CSA for such incidents. I think they are doing very good, very great in trying to recognize all CIs, all professionals, make sure that systems that are very critical to the nation has the right policies, right controls to defend it. But as I always say, there's no 100% proof. Okay, there's no bulletproof when it comes to security. There's always a way around it. And so I believe that as a nation, when we have such incidents, like example, there's a ransomware, most companies have controls, have policies to cater beyond just the paperwork. But I'll say that it should be a national concern, and it should be a standard for every single organization. Example is for the banking sector. If you look at the BOG and CSA, they've done a very good job in streamlining how the banking sector, the finance sector, they implement these controls. So I believe that for other areas like the energy sector, I know there might be certain controls all day too. But for other sectors, I believe that we should extend these policies, these strict controls to them. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Please, you could pass on the microphone. Thank you so much. Please, I hope we learned from what Mr. Emmanuel said, that whatever we've seen being implemented in some of the key sectors like the finance sector, such policies should also be extended towards the various sectors. All right. Mr. Kweku Entry. Most people only hear about internet policy when something bad happens, like when data gets leaked or a system is hacked. How can we get young cybersecurity professionals more involved in shaping these rules before problems actually happen?
Thank you for the question. I'm glad to meet you. It's formulated a bit of a statement for. So far, we are advocating for a lot more things to be part of the program because apart from the certificate, a Southwest teacher, Dr. Benjamin says that we need to educate everyone in the in the spirit of asylum, let's encourage our sisters, daughters, and mothers, even our mothers and fathers, but so thank you, William. I think one of the things that we have to recognize is the internet is for all of us. And for much of whatever people in the internet space is in effect. And as we say, the internet, everything is in the internet system. And when we talk about policies actually solutions to the problems we have in society. And basically what happens is that the state or the government institutions are the ones who create policies together with the people. So identify the issues coming to the people, gathering the support of the people, so that we build the solutions, be able to have regulations, institutions, so that we have to. The second point is that to encourage us to be part of this, one of the things that we like to do is be part of programs and participate. For some of us, for me, I went to a very great school, and somebody was saying great university, the blue ones that I went to say on that thing, proud of that. But one of the things that I used to do always when I was in school at that time, even though the internet is a bit nice in late 90s, I always used to go to the library to read the newspaper almost every day. And one of the things that I found that was participating in notifications. So the second point is also learning and knowing about institutions and everything. And then when we come about talk about technology in Ghana, the Ministry of Communication, Data Technology and Innovations now has most of those agencies under. So one of the basic things is just go to the ministry's website, look at the agencies, all the agencies' websites, you have the information about it, and you learn about what is happening and participating in part of the programs. And if you tell the other colleagues to listen to part of the programs. I'll say this for now, and what more can share later in the conversation. So I'm listening to you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, Mr. Joseph Michaels. As a nation, we talk a lot about protecting critical infrastructure, but ordinary people also live online. We use banking apps, we use messaging platforms, we share almost everything there. From a national security view, how can citizens themselves play a role in keeping Ghana safe in the cyberspace? Thank you, and good afternoon once again to everybody. Now, national security has transited from the traditional security, where the focus was just mainly securing our government, to a contemporary one. Since 1984, the concept of human security was introduced, where national security now is more human or people-centered. And so we talk about certain tenets of human security, i.e., political security, food security, economic security, community security, how we maintain a social cohesion within our communities, how we maintain our values as a nation, because those things actually define that. And then we also talk about food security, environmental security. So all these aspects and tenets of human security are people or person driven. So now with the introduction of the cyberspace, it has taken the human security to another dimension because we have digital entities within the cyberspace. And as a nation, yes, steps have been taken. We have the CSA and the Act 1038 that actually guides and seeks to regulate cyber security activities, promote cyber awareness. Now, national security being represented by NSB, we are also actively involved in ensuring that there's an increased public awareness. If you look at our our national security strategy that was drafted somewhere 5 years ago, the concept is a whole of government and a whole of people approach. So it is a shared responsibility. So government alone, irrespective of the mechanisms, the systems we put in place, cannot do it alone. We need the citizenry. We need Operations Act, the set Ghana, and set means Computer Emergency Response Team, which we getting acquainted with it. when you see cyber incidents unfold in real time. What's one major lesson Ghana has learned from recent attacks that cybersecurity professionals should take seriously? Thank you very much. Good afternoon to all once again. National second for the question, I think national secretary. I have my judges. I don't know which of my panelists have their bosses staring at their faces, but I have my idea, and they are marking me. So, thank you very much. When it comes to incident response and the cybersecurity authority, so we established what we call the cybersecurity cyber practice incident reporting points of contact. Now, these are contacts through which basically anyone can reach out to the authority to report incidents. When we set out to do it, it was basically to respond to incidents or give an avenue for people to report the incidents that were so we could and respond to them. But one of the things that we've also come to learn from it is it's not only about incidents, but people are actually out there and they are seeing things that they are not even sure of. And they have not fallen victim yet, but they don't know what to do, whether they are going to fall victim or not. So we also report incidents to the authority. When you look at the top reported incidents that we have received over the years, online fraud is the most reported incident, which I mean it includes quite a number of scams as well, of course. Take investment scam, job recruitment scam, freelance scam, online checking scam, and the others. When you take aside online fraud, we have blackmail. So online blackmail is also quite another big thing. I mean, on the demography building thing, it should be an issue that trust me is one of the most reported incidents that we also see. The next most reported incident has to do with unauthorized access. So this basically
90%
90%
of
of
it
it
has to
has to
do
do
with
with
account
account
takeovers
takeovers
in
in
terms
terms
of
of
WhatsApp account takeovers, where people are not putting in place the necessary two-factor verifications, sharing their pins, and all not to take over their accounts. So these are some of the most reported incidents. And someone would ask, or within this community, someone would ask, where are the ransomwares, where are the DDoS attacks? Yes, they are happening. They are happening in specific sectors. So aside those that are being reported, like you mentioned, national security is also a people-centered thing. So that is from the people-centered. But when you look at the various sectors, the financial sector, the government sector, I think when you listen to the address of the acting deputy director general, he mentioned certain incidents that have been we've received around those sectors as well, including several vulnerabilities that we've identified, including exposure, especially on the dark web. Government entities, credentials are being exposed, and these are all being done basically through social engineering and all that. If I have one word for our professionals, it's more about not only narrowing yourself to just the technical aspects of things. Cyber is also very much social. So you need to understand that concept as well. You might always be breaking the boxes and the systems and all of that, but if you study even not just what I've talked about, but on the global scale, you realize that attackers are taking advantage of the people. They are going through the people instead of basically trying to break the systems, because it's become a very hard task to do. So it's more of now, let's rather concentrate on the people. So as people within the space, it's not only about breaking the boxes, but like we've mentioned, awareness is also very key. So you also need to put out some time, learn as well, and be able to educate people for them to put in place just the basic minimum measures to protect themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So over to our next panelist, Dr. Mame Ofewa Sapong. Okay. All right. So a lot of cyber incidents get reported, but some never seem to reach the courtroom. From what you have seen, why is it so hard to turn cyber cases or incidents into actual justice?
Okay, so good afternoon once again. Thank you very much for the question. I believe the issue has to do with, and I think I'll repeat what everybody here has said. I think the issue also has to do with awareness. And also looks as though there's some fragmentation with respect to the authorities. So let's say somebody has an issue. The person doesn't know whether I'm going under data protection, I'm going to the cybersecurity authority, or I'm going to the Ghana police. So it looks like these institutions, I can see that these days, and I was telling my friend here, I can see that these days the cybersecurity authority, there's a lot of publicity, etc., but I don't think it's really gone down there yet, as in it's spread within the populace. So the reason why it would not necessarily reach the courts is the fact that people don't even know where to go to in the first place. And also, most of these institutions also take a criminal approach to it. And so it goes through the Ghana police, and then because there's nobody to chase it or follow it up, they leave it there. But if you take a more civil approach, where you're suing, for example, in the courts for compensation for some damage that has been done to you, then you can simply then approach a lawyer who will then file a civil suit on your behalf if you have the requisite evidence. So I'll say that, just to answer your question, I'll say that it is still about awareness.
A lot more people don't know where to go in the event where there's some cyber breach.
Just a follow-up on that. So, for example, he mentioned, that's Mr. Isaac, that one of the top incidents that we were experiencing was frauds, and I'm suspecting that mobile fraud. All right. So, if you had that evidence of these transactions on your mobile orders, and you wanted to actually file a civil case, what would be your professional contribution in terms of your steps to carry out?
So, the point of going to court was that we need to give some compensation. So if there's a fraud issue, now fraud is in two parts. So you can actually decide to go the criminal route or the civil route. When you go the criminal route, you're not going to get compensated. So if the remedy you're looking at is
monetary compensation, then you may want to take out a civil suit. So in that one, you need to identify who the person is. Okay, so you need proper identification of who the person, the person who has defrauded you. You need to identify that person. And then you can take out, based on the evidence that you have, the documentary proof that you have, you can go to court. And when he's found liable or culpable, then you can enter into execution or execute your judgment. But the truth is that most of these people, you wouldn't even know where to find their properties. So you can go to court, win the action, but then you're left with nothing, because this person may even be a man of straw. You don't even know where to find him. Most people you can't even get their bank details. You don't even know where his house is. So you can end up 4 or 5 years in court. Yes, you become a victor, but you're still left with nothing. So most people would go the criminal route. And that's where the fragmentation also then limits the ability to, as it were, be compensated.
Thank you so much. All right, so over to our next panelist, Dr. Emmanuel. Yes, please give a round of applause for her. Please do, please do. For every one of our panelists, they are doing so well. Thank you. So Dr. Emmanuel Entry Bosiako. Academic research is often far ahead of what organizations actually put into practice. Do you think Ghana is doing enough to connect universities, even our educational institutions, and the industry in cybersecurity? And should we be worried about the gap between research and real-world implementation?
Thank you very much for that question. And I also want to greet the entire audience. This is a very important question, and I want to approach it from another angle. I think there's been a number of times where people complain that we are doing a lot of research, especially at the educational institution, but they sit on the shelves and collecting a lot of dust, right? Yes. I can tell you that now the narrative is changing gradually, but I think there's still more to be done. You know, there is a big gap between the academia and then the industry. So, for example, as I sit here, if you ask me now, what are some of my interests? I may be thinking of publishing, and then maybe getting my promotions, true or false? But the work shouldn't just end there. Okay, now most of the things that the industry want to do, I can confidently tell you that the academia, we have some of these solutions already. So for example, the other time I went for the PKI consortium, and then we were talking about post-quantum cryptography. You know, currently most of the cryptographic algorithms that we are using, you realize that they are running on some number theoretical assumptions. Now, most of them currently are not being broken because we don't have quantum computers, okay? But once we have quantum computers in place, you realize that most of these algorithms can be solved within seconds, okay? We have research that have gone far ahead to propose some of these post-quantum robust solutions. But the question is, how many of the industry group are aware of these? Okay, so it also points down to the fact that we also have to create some awareness, okay? And there should be some collaboration between the industry as well as the academia and even the government, okay? So that certain solutions that they may be wanting or certain solutions that they would need, they can collaborate with the academia. We work hand in hand and get these solutions. And one interesting thing is that, you see, we come up with the concept, with the ideas, with the solution, but they will have to be implemented. Okay, so that is why that collaboration between the academia and then the industry is very much needed, so that we all work hand in hand, get our solutions to the industry, they even implement. And interestingly too, some of the concepts that we come up with, especially as academia, you realize that they are within a controlled environment, right? Now, when you go out there to implement, you realize that it's totally a different thing. So that is where I have a position that whatever we are doing, let's collaborate. Sometimes it becomes worrying. I wouldn't say that much worrying when industry are doing research and they don't collaborate with academia. So they come up with their own research teams and they are doing their things. Yeah, that's good. But I think if we collaborate with the academia, we'll get a lot of things being done. As I stated earlier, there are a lot of solutions that are already being proposed. Still at the PKI consortium, we realize that even currently, Africa is thinking of coming up with its own certificate authority. Okay, Africa is trying to do that. But you see, there's even a challenge with just a single certificate authority. Okay, we also have solutions that are working on what we call certificateless, where you don't really have to rely on just one certificate authority. Okay, part of the private key will come from, I'm sounding a little bit technical, but part of the private key will come from the certificate authority. Another will also come from the individual user. So here, we don't just trust one entity. Okay, so in conclusion, I wouldn't want to talk that much, but I think that Ghana is doing its part in bringing the academia and the industry together. But I think we can do more. Let's do more so that we take advantage of whatever systems that are in place industry-wise, as well as the research that the academia is also doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please.
Yes. Let me take.
So I just want to add a few things to what my brother said. We're all entry, so we'll add a little bit. So I think most of the things we will try to do here on the stage also to educate people. And we also want to be able to kind of instill the idea of sovereignty. Yeah. And when we're talking about sovereignty, I mean, the Deputy Minister touched a bit about it because the technologies that we are using, I mean, most of the technologies were not created by us, but we are able to use aspects of the technology for our benefit. So the sovereignty in terms, what we're talking about, for us to be able to have control of the technologies, to be able to implement the technologies for ourselves. Yeah. I mean, he's a cryptologist. I mean,
because of security and other things. But there's a history about the technology we are talking about, and that's the internet.
Yes.
Nothing will exist as we're talking about it now without the internet, which is actually more an offshoot of another technology with the telecommunications. But do we all know the history of how this thing came about? Does anybody know the history of how the internet came about? Yes? So let me just give a big snapshot. So the internet was also about sovereignty.
Yeah.
And when you go back to the history, it was more a way in which the big boys were fighting. So the US and Russia were. It's not today's wars.
Yes.
And it was more about sovereignty, what they called about the Cold War, okay? And basically, again, academia collaborating with people try to create a network where, should in case a nuclear bomb or something disastrous should happen, we will still be able to communicate.
Yes.
Okay? And that is how we have it now. And it has evolved over time. And later on in the 90s when the private sector took on. So all I just wanted to say is that one of the things, especially for most of our ethical hackers, I don't want to say, I want to be politically correct. Let's think about collaborating. Let's think about even approaching institutions and being able to collaborate in whatever we do, because nothing that we do is going to be impactful without the data that we will collect, without the research, and without the implementation of the various teams. Yes. That is all of us collaborating together. That's what I just want to thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Please, you could give it to Mr. Emmanuel. Thank you so much. And please, I hope we learned from his addition. It's only going to happen through collaboration. And I believe that's one of the main culture we are promoting here at BRCTF. When you come, you don't just meet ethical hackers, you meet various professionals who are impacting the cyberspace in their different sectors. But when you come together, you are able to learn from each other and realize that you can't do it alone. And we want to hack ethically. And to hack ethically, we need policy, we need law, we need awareness, and we need all sectors within our critical infrastructure to work together. All right. So, Mr. Emmanuel, back to you again. Offensive security looks cool on YouTube. Ethical hacking, red teaming, bug bounty hunting. But in real life, assessing the systems of a bank, a telco, or even a small business that depends on digital payment is serious business. How do we move a student from winning CTFs to doing real, responsible vulnerability assessments that actually protect these organizations?
All right, thank you very much. So this has different sections, right? Myself, I come from the same background. I come from a background where in my early years, I played CTFs. I recall back then, Pico CTF in 2013, thereabout. Right, so I come from the same background. Now, once you have those core skills, you have the ingredients already. You have the curiosity. So just like Doc said, right? In our daily life, we say curiosity kills a cat. But in our field here, it makes you more better. The more curious you are, the better you are. Okay, not leaving any stone unturned. The second thing is that you already have the problem-solving skills already. Okay, now the challenge is that how do you move from there to become a professional? There are key things you must consider. The first thing is applying ethics and legality. Okay. Now, once you are, example, you are testing for a bank, a telco, the route you use for your CTS will not apply, because at that point there's a contract being signed. There's a scope of work. So unlike CTFs where you are allowed to play to any extent, for real systems, you have a scope. Example is that we can say you are able to touch just server A and B, right? On your CTF, you have the luxury of going beyond that. But in a real environment where you are given a scope, you must stay within your scope, because there's a signed document, a contract signed. We call it the rules of engagement. If you go beyond the scope, it means that you can be sued, there can be legal issues against you. So the first thing is that you must apply ethics and legality. Second thing is having to know the standards out there. Okay. Now, I know most of us here, if you play CTS, you already know the MITRE ATT&CK framework, the kill chain framework, the PTS framework, the OAPS framework, right? You must always align yourself with them. That moves you from just plain CTFs to a professional, because at that point you align yourself with international standards, how to do things properly. The next thing will be, I'll say one thing that technical people don't want, which is communication and documentation. If you play CTFs, there's no way or there's no need that after playing your CTFs, capture the flags, you go ahead to write a report. Okay. In most cases, you just capture the flag, submit onto the platform, and then you are giving your point. Now, in a real environment where you are doing this for an organization, a bank, a telco, any organization, the value you give is the report you give them. So after doing all your techniques, breaking all the boxes, finding all the security weaknesses, if you don't have a proper, a detailed report for them, you don't give them any value. And so reporting is very important. And so whilst you play your CTFs, you must also go ahead and learn how to report. And key thing is how to also communicate. As I said later on, if you look at most of the technical people, myself, I'm part of it, I don't like, I'm not very good with reporting, communication, but it's very essential if you want to become a professional. Because if you write a report, go ahead, test the system for an organization, find all those thousands of security weaknesses for them, and you're unable to communicate effectively with them, it's an issue. Because for the company, they only see things from the business perspective. But you are bringing, risk, vulnerabilities that they might not be able to translate into business. You must be able to help them understand why they should fix the issue and then the impact of the business. And so you should be able to marry technical staffs with the business. Okay. The last thing I'll talk about is networking. It's very, very, very important. I know most of us here have LinkedIn pages. Once you have any project like these competitions, try to be posting them out there, because recruiters are out there looking for people. Okay. Well, if you're in your own small space, they won't find you. And so once you play these games, you do projects on your own personal learning project lab that you create, you must put them out there. You must network out there, right? So one platform is LinkedIn. The other Discord platforms that will allow you push your items or your work there. Okay. With all these things combined, I believe that you can move yourself from just playing CTFs into a more professional individual where you can perform the same skills. Mind you, it's the same skill set. Okay, what you find, what you do, your techniques you use for CTFs is the same thing that you do when you go into a real environment. Just that you need to apply certain things that will make you much more better and much more professional. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Mr. Kweku Entry. Awesome. A lot of cybersecurity professionals focus on hacking and defense, but few think about the policies that make those systems safe in the first place. How can we help the next generation to see policy as part of cybersecurity, not separate from it?
Yeah, I think a friend here said something which is so funny. You see, when it comes to a lot of the technical guys, you tend to stay within your space, okay? And you said something even about documentation. Some people are even there, they can write code. Somebody can blink and write code in their head. I see some of you and I just can read certain things. But the good thing about policy is that what people don't realize, some of us never really started in policy, but it's with events like this and also working through with a lot of people in the various fields, well, in tech, but also in various fields, then we say, we're having these issues. How do we get these issues to be addressed? Okay, so as we speak now, and I would like to say this to you, in Ghana, there's no one umbrella association or trade area for what I'll call IT professionals in Ghana, which is very bad. But there's an organization which has existed, which is ITAG, IT Association of Ghana. So later on, we'll share the information with you. Second point is that when you have these issues, you need to be able to approach the authorities that exist. And in our case, it's government, and we have government institutions. Then you'll be able to tell them what the issues are so that they can garner or gather the information to be able to provide solutions for you. That's policy, okay? And then together we create those policies. One thing we have to learn, especially as tech people, is to be participatory in being also able to break down our concepts for the policymakers. When I say policymakers, it's not just the political class or the civil servants who are in place, but for everybody to be able to understand you, so that the problems that we are having now is based on A, B, C, and D criteria. The other aspect also is that we need to be able to share some of this information and approach some of these agencies. But one other aspect too is this when you approach the agencies, you also have to see that they are also receiving a lot of requests. So how do you make your standout amongst the rest? And you have to be consistent. Please, we work in institutions. I'm not going to bash anybody, but I think the most consistent you are, that's when the organization can also be able to take you on board and say, okay, this is an issue. Currently, I think BOJ is doing sandboxing, which is quite new to our regulatory environment. But it is something which fintech has been always calling for, in which it is very good that we're able to have these kind of collaborations. And I think the last aspect about it is that, please, let's learn. We are talking about sovereignty. Let's try and learn a bit more about how our governance system works. When I'm talking about governance system, that's how we create and make do in how we operate as a country, okay? So understanding this thing and also providing technology solutions to it is what will be those ability for us to say that the skills that we have are creating solutions to the problems that we have, and that the policies are working in place. Then we have a full scope of whatever we are doing. And we are going to be the markets of the future in Ghana through technology. And we together, we can do that together. Thank you.
Just a moment. So just to help our audience understand the weight of what you're speaking about, could you just give us an example of real-life cases that technical people could face, but policy could actually, has actually helped to be able to help the audience or the people or consumers understand what these technical people saw? Yes.
So I think I'll just give you the ones which are quite easily identifiable, especially under the agencies under the ministry. So I think I'll give about 3. So most of us now have these things in our pocket, telephone, mobile phones, and that's also, better words, it's also technology that existed. And through policy, we were able to, because we want everybody to be connected. This started from global, and we're doing it. And in Ghana in the 90s, we're able to have policies for people to be able to have telecommunications companies. So then we created a regulator which exists now as the NCA. So that's policy-wise, and through policy you implement, and through regulation, then you have a lot more. At a point in time, we had about 6 mobile phone companies. Second point is that after some time, we knew that we were registering a lot of people. So then we needed data protection. And then through policy, we came out with data protection policy, and now we have a data protection commission. Please, are you following? Are you following the trend? Third one I want to say is that, and most of the times, I like to say the organization I work for, we are like a Siamese twin, right? So I work for the Ghana Domain Name Registry. Most people don't know about us, but basically the domain name is basically what exists as the internet. Because what we know that the internet, you have the names of names and the addresses, and we work with IP numbers as well. So that is our, but we have a twin who is very loud and who is very, in my father's language, we say braggadocious. So our twin is the Cybersecurity Authority, okay? And basically we work together, but we are not too loud. We are not too loud, but our twin is the Cybersecurity Authority. And basically, because of what had happened when we had had these phones exist, and also technology change, where we have internet now being deployed across, we needed to have institutions for us to be able to have our digital identity. That's the .gh domain name. That's the digital identity of Ghana. And then the Cybersecurity Authority in terms of the cyberspace. So I think practically these are examples of policy, institutions, and practicalities that have been born, and how we see it working now in Ghana. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. Please, a round of applause to him. All right. Mr. Joseph Michaels, back to you again. Okay, so many cybersecurity professionals are enthusiastic about technology and up-and-coming cybersecurity innovations. But they don't know there's a whole career defending a nation behind the scenes. What drew you into this field, and what advice would you give to someone who wants to follow a similar path?
That's an interesting question, and I would like to say that whether you are officially working in your capacity as a government officer or not, defending Ghana's digital sovereignty is our total and shared responsibility. And when I entered the national security, I didn't just transit into defending digital systems. I would also say that fate found me, but I understood the brain behind it. That first and foremost, data is the new oil. Data is the new currency. That is how come countries like India has initiated a digital Swaraj mission. In their mindset, they are projecting to be digitally sovereign by 2030 because they realize the geopolitical war between the USA and the China could in the near future affect them. And they have over 1.3, 1.4 billion people. That is a lot of people. So they came out with that roadmap to start implementing, first and foremost, new operating systems in their government offices. So they've piloted Linux OS, and then they're also trying to localize their cloud services. That is data sovereignty. My co-panelists have also spoken about software sovereignty. And most of you guys, young guys here, you don't need to be in the national security to help us defend our sovereignty in the digital space. We are all talking about over-reliance and over-dependence on foreign software. And that actually negatively impacts our sovereignty because we don't have total control. Be inspired, be motivated to come out with softwares to help our digital sovereignty agenda. There's also the tech sovereignty, which deals with the hardware, the technologies running behind the digital space. There's also room for you there. You can still play around. And remember, all these under the cyberspace give us a notion that is a broad spectrum of fields. So yes, you might even start as a hacker. Just as I said, I started as an analyst. But as I was playing with data, with analytical data, intelligence analysis, I veered into cyber and I felt, okay, this is a new domain, reviewing cyber reports. Why don't I get in there? So I started by personal development, paying for courses on my own. I didn't wait for the institution because I realized this will augment my efforts in helping safeguard Ghana. So there are a lot of personal strides you must take on your own, not necessarily waiting for someone to push you. So when I took a few courses, then when opportunities came within the setup, those preparations, those courses met up with those opportunities. And then here I am today, leading the Security Operations Center. So, young guys, BRCTF is giving you the opportunity. The things you are learning, build on them. Because you might not know where you find yourself tomorrow. Secondly, be ethical online. Be ethical. There was a training we were having for some of our officers, junior officers, and then that portion was about social media. So we just picked one of our colleagues and then decided to do like 5-6 years forensics into his social media account. And lo and behold, he had posted something that sought to mock the current president now. And not because he intentionally wanted to. It was something that was trending. But he didn't know that 5-6 years down the line, he will find himself in a national institution. That is so critical to our national security and our defense as a nation. So whatever you are doing today, online, just be ethical. Have the future in mind. Let's say tomorrow, you are brought in as a contractor. You are brought in as someone to augment our efforts. And we decide to check your online profile. Because whatever you do online leaves digital traces. What will be the story? Let your story be someone who actually contributed to the defense and the sovereignty of our nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Mr. Isaac Socrates Mensah. All right. So this is also a follow-up on something you mentioned earlier. Right? So I'm combining them together. So many people and small business still don't report cyber incidents. And personally, I have observed it. I remember a colleague working in the finance sector reached out to me that they had been hit with a ransomware, and the next thing that they just did was to wipe everything and restore back up. That was the first thing they did. And they didn't even try to do any investigation to find out where it's coming from, how to mitigate it, nothing. So from your experience, what can be done to make incident reporting easier and build trust so more people can come forward when they are attacked?
Yeah, thank you very much. Anytime I get the opportunity to present statistics of incidents that we received or what is happening within the space, I always say that this is likely to be just 10% of what actually is out there, because how many people even know where to report? I think I even mentioned the cybersecurity reporting point of contact. You can just do a cursory run in here to ask how many of them or how many of the people in this room who are in the space even know that there is something existent like that. Just a few people would know. And when it comes to reporting, like you said, most of us we are in a hurry to get back online or to work. And that's what always the organizations or we in the incident response space are faced with. Because once there might be documentation, but in reality, when an incident happens and business as usual has been truncated, the pressure from the heads is not about you gathering data and getting to know what happened. It's about getting the systems back online for us to operate. So most often than not, we throw everything in terms of business continuation, and we just throw everything in the trash, and then we want to just get back online, and that is a very big disaster, because we don't learn or we don't get the opportunity to learn from what really happened for us to put in place the necessary measures to prevent them, or for somebody to even learn. If you go into a lot of institutions that have fallen victim to attacks and you request for documentation on post-attack, what were the things they learned, a lot of them won't be able to actually provide you with that information because they didn't document it. They went business as usual. They just had to do what was possible to bring the systems back online. And then we just move from there to, and of course, when it happens again, it's also about reputation, especially for businesses. And even for individuals, even to the extent that some of the crimes that I talked about as being reported to the POC, people find it so difficult to actually willingly come out. You realize that before they even come to report, it means that they are in a certain corner and they just don't find any other solution. That's why they have come. And normally that is at the tail end, where now everything is destroyed and now they want to report. Reputation counts, especially when it comes to something like a financial institution. If they go report, some of them feel it's going to end up in the public domain, and now everybody is going, this bank is not secured, I want to take my funds there. It's a matter of reputation, and then it affects us. To be able to bridge this particular gap, we have to be very intentional about things that we do, things that will enhance trust and then collaboration. One of the things, like what we are doing here, builds trust. However, you realize that we might not find that in that official space or in that national space where various stakeholders come together to participate in some drills like this. So just to say, I think just a week or two ago, we did what we call the National Cybersecurity Drill. That's the 3rd edition of it, where we invited the various incident response teams within the set ecosystem. We have something we call a set ecosystem, where we have set up sectoral sets within certain sectors, so national security. So he, for instance, is the person I relate with when it comes to incidents relating to national security, right? There's another within the financial sector. There's another within the telecommunications sector. There's another one within government, and they are sitting with the various regulators in these sectors. What we did this time is we also brought in the private sector. So people that work within the various service providers who run managed cybersecurity services, SOCs, their various analysts, brought them into the room to also participate in some of these things. Even that is not enough. We need to also still go more, bring in the banks. Basically, the entire ecosystem needs to come together where these things are going to brew that trust, and national policy should also address it. If you look at the policy and strategy, it builds some of these things where the ecosystem can come together, participate in various drills, right? Capacity building engagements. And with that, you bring the ecosystem close so that we can even be sharing information. And with that, people out there would know that there is a place, or when I enter this space, at least I can be rest assured that my reputation is secure. People want to test first before they actually come. So once that continues, gradually it's not something you can achieve in a day, honestly. Even advanced countries, there are still issues when it comes to reporting and sharing information. So it's a very deliberate thing that we need to focus on as a country. Government needs to be intentional, regulatory bodies need to be intentional, bring the stakeholders together and work together, and that is going to build the trust that we are looking for.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. Dr. Mami Ofewasapong, we have seen some countries shut down parts of the internet, and this is in regards to our digital sovereignty, because many nations are advocating for it, and Mr. Joseph mentioned even how India believes that they will be able to establish that by 2030. Now, we've seen some countries being able to shut down parts of the internet or block certain platforms where they feel things are getting out of control. From a legal point of view, should any government have that much power over how people connect and communicate online? Thank you.
I mean, absolutely. And I think that sums up what we've been saying here. I believe when Mr. Joseph was speaking, he talked about the fact that we should develop even localized solutions. So that is very much a part of our sovereignty. When we talk about sovereignty, we're talking about control over people and things within your domain. So I believe that we should even move from having to store our data in some cloud that is operated under some other jurisdiction to having localized solutions. And so we should be able to have softwares that are sitting right within our space so that we have control over it. And then that also goes to what Mr. Kweku was saying about being able to regulate, so that we're able to regulate what also happens in our space. Then we very much have a control over, and that's absolutely legal. That goes to the sovereignty of a state. So when we talk about sovereignty in this space, then we could be talking about sovereignty over people and even over our technology. So yes.
All right. So this was because I think it was in Nepal that they actually banned a particular social media platform, and then the youth took to the streets. It became a whole riot and all that. And I mean, there have been some arguments that, you know, the government shouldn't have that much power to ban a social media platform like that. What would you say from your stance from a legal practitioner's view?
So it's a balancing act. So here we're balancing the rights of people to be innovative, or the right to innovate, and also the right to regulate. And that is what government does. And so maybe there should be some communication between the two where they can collaborate and meet halfway. But it is very much the government's duty to regulate, and it's also very much the rights of these children also to innovate. Okay, so it should be a balancing act, and that is still very much within the sovereignty of the state.
All right.
Thank you
you so much. Thank you. Okay. Dr. Emmanuel Intri Bosiakon. And please, this is actually our last round of questioning, and after this, we'll just take about 1 or 2 questions from the audience, then we can bring an end to the panel discussion. So you have extensive experience in the in academic research in the educational institutions. Looking at how we train cybersecurity students in Ghana currently, do you think the current curriculum truly prepares them for real industry work? And if not, what specific changes or additions would make our graduates more ready for the field?
Interesting question. GIMPA, we run a master's program in cybersecurity and digital forensics. Okay. It is a very, very deep question. But what I will say is that it is yes and no. Okay, Yes, in the sense that we are doing our part, especially the academic institutions. Because, for example, if you look at the kind of attacks that we are experiencing now we are having more of this ultimate AI attacks, like AI threats. Okay. And we should also be able to train our students to be able to defend these kind of AI attacks, also by using AI solutions. Okay, I think one of us was talking about data being the currency. Okay, now you realize that with data we have a lot of information. So, I mean, with AI you can even train most of these. You can train an AI model to mimic a number of scenarios, attack scenarios, and be able to provide defense against such attacks. Okay, now the question is, how many of our institutions are ready to do these things? I remember back 2018, I was in China, and as at that time, I think that was the time that 5G was actually dominating. China by then was doing so well when it comes to 5G, and it was even a national policy where AI was now at the front. Okay, so anyone even doing any studies, whether it's a PhD, master's, whatever topic you are doing, you have to add AI. Can you imagine? So I was researching in information security, but I was advised to also add AI because they were preparing themselves to be able to fight certain kind of attacks. And as we speak now, when it comes to AI, I think we are all aware China is really, really on top. Okay. So what I would say is that as part of our training, let's partner with industry. I always say that because they know some of the real attacks that that is happening. We partner with them. We come up with solutions that will meet the demand out there. So Ghana, if I say Ghana, I'm talking about the industry, academia, as well as the government. I think we are doing our part, but we still have more room for improvement, especially looking at the kind of the attack surfaces, the kind of sophistication that we are having now. We should be able to train our our students well. One thing I also say is that sometimes let's invite, so I'm speaking in terms of the academia, let's invite the industry to co-create our curriculum, our course outlines. The content in there should be relevant to the industry, because when we train our students, at the end, where are they going to work? They are going to work in the industry. Okay. So bringing all these things together, I think we have to be intentional about our training. I brought in the case of China because what I realized was that they were so intentional about AI as at that time. Okay. It's currently that I think Ghana, we are making so much noise about AI. About 6-7 years ago, some countries were far advanced. Okay. But one thing I also want to say is that I think Ghana is doing well. It's not that bad. Because if you go to some other African countries, you see that Ghana, my people, Ghana, we are doing well. Oh. We are not that, in fact, we are not bad at all. Okay, because Ghana, for example, we have our PKI infrastructure, all the things that we are doing them securely, because Ghana is becoming intentional about some of these things. So I foresee a brighter future where our students that we are preparing, we are going to equip them with all that they need. But as I stated, it should be intentional. And I think one of us also stated that, you see, as students, okay, let's also be intentional about the things that we are doing. Intentional about our training. Sometimes don't just rely on the things that you are taught. Go a step further to research, read around. Look, cybersecurity, for example, okay, even without stepping in the classroom, okay, you can have some level of education about it. Even online. There are some free courses online that you can. I was just telling my wife that, in fact, what I'm trying to do now is that my kids, even if you are going to do medicine, even if you are going to do law, IT, cybersecurity should be part of your training, and you can do it on your own. Okay, so I think we are getting there, but there should be more intentional efforts to help us be able to achieve our goals. And last but not the least, it's good. Ghana, we have plans. We have an agenda. Let's fortify the plans that we have so that once we have a vision, we can all rally behind the vision. Once there is a clear path, we all know where we are going and we'll be able to achieve as much as we want. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, a round of applause for all our panelists. Thank you so much for your patience. I know we've consumed much time, but it was worth it. They needed to pour into the audience. And at this point, if there's just one or two people, we could just pinpoint. If you have a particular panelist you want to direct a question towards, you could just raise your hand. I think I'll have somebody bring the mic to you. Is there anybody? Okay. Please, is there anyone to help me with the microphone?
Thank you. My name is Kwabna Seshe. I have 3 questions. I'll try and put all of those together in one. My first question will be hardware. We keep talking about software. We buy most of our softwares from wherever, but we also buy our hardware because we don't manufacture anything. So what's the policy that can be put in place to help us achieve our sovereignty from that aspect? My second question too will be on building a cyber army reserve. When it comes to national security, every country they've got their actual army, and then they also have a reserve. Beyond the beyond the NSB and the CSA, what are some of the things that are being put in place to make sure that some of our people coming up can actually, and other people who are also certified in cybersecurity, let's say we can have like a database where all of these people can be called upon should there be a cyber warfare between Ghana and another country? Do we have anything in place to collectively bring all of these people together to make sure that the country is safe? And then my last question is, I used to work as a policymaker. I used to advise. And a lot of times when my boss comes to me with a question, says, Kwabna, this is the problem. It's an IT problem. It's your domain. Solve it. I give a solution, and whenever it goes to the top, it always comes back. And the feedback is, we know this is the solution, but can you give us another solution? So I think a lot of times we know what to do as a nation, but I don't know if it's personal reasons or culture. We always find some reason to prevent us from doing what we know is right. What are some of the things we can put in place to make sure that when it comes to cybersecurity, if this is what we have to do, we go straight to doing it? Thank you.
All right. So please, which of our panelists would like to tackle this question? Okay. I think, yeah, there's a microphone there. Yes.
I think I'll go with the last question. Policy is quite an interesting field. So I have a very simple answer for you now. Under the ministry, which is the Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations, all the agencies under the ministry's laws are being reviewed now, this particular moment. So you can go onto the ministry's website. Let's look at a list of the institutions. Everybody has been mandated to post the reviews or the reviews or the laws, the draft laws, onto their website. There's a form for comment, or there's a form for feedback. And there's also going to be in-person meetings to garner those inputs. Because what people don't realize is that Ghana's policy making is actually something which is co-created with the people. And without you, we can't make those policies. So my simple answer to you is that just go onto the ministry's website, look at the agencies. It's being reviewed as we speak now. My agency is going to have the first in-person meeting on the 5th of November at Kofi Annan ICT Center. So you can go to gdna.org.gh, and as well as all the other agencies, and the feedback channels are there for you to be reviewed. All right.
Okay, so I also take the second question concerning the cyber army. So yes, depending on the ideology of a nation, so let's say if you take North Korea, their cyber army is part of their military. So they have a specialized unit within the army that deals with cyber army, cyber warfare, because they are facing a lot of sanctions, and it is estimated that yearly that cyber army brings at least $2 billion to the economy through unethical means, through hacking, breaking the box. So you've heard of. So when I saw Lazarus, I'm like, I hope these guys don't get connected to the Lazarus group. Maybe there will be ethical Lazarus for Ghana, and that's what we hope for. So now the National Security Council comprises various institutions, security institutions, and currently even the act is being reviewed to include more. But from our end, we've started building capacity. So from NSB, I know CSA also does same. We are training the military, we are training the police, the fire service. We have training sessions with them just to build capacity. So we are not there yet compared to the North Koreans, the China, the USA with regards to NSA and stuff, but there is a roadmap. And we hope and we believe that as we have begun the journey, one day we will also be there.
Just to also add to what he's saying, aside the capacity building that we are building within or that we are having within the various security agencies, the Cybersecurity Authority, we are setting up what we call the Industry Forum. Okay, and even before you even build an army, you need personnel, you need technology, you need processes and all of that. You need to actually identify certain people that are even going to form part of your army. This initiative forms part of something like that, even if it is not being clearly written out that we want to build. But if we even decide that after a year we want to build a cyber army, we know the people to go to build that army with initiatives like this. The Industry Forum is also going to help in bringing the ecosystem together. We are doing what we call accreditation, okay, of cybersecurity professionals. It's not just because we want to collect cybersecurity professionals, but even as a country, we want to be informed as to which kind of skill do we even have. When we take the cybersecurity ecosystem, is it only people who can do pen testing that we have? How many people are there? We need to have that data so that tomorrow it will influence some of the things that we want to do. So if tomorrow we want to set up a cyber army, what will it comprise of? We need penetration testers. We can say, oh, in the industry, within our system, we have about 500 penetration testers that have registered with authority. We can leverage on those. We have people that can do incident response. We have analysts. What do we call it? Governance, risk, and compliance. So, I mean, we've not clearly set out that we want to build something like that from policy level. However, the basic building blocks that will make that thing necessary is being done now. So that's what I want to add. Thank you.
All right. Let me just, thank you very much. I think, let me just talk about the hardware sovereignty, okay? In fact, that is a serious concern because currently you realize that most of our digital infrastructure, most of them are hardware devices that we have actually imported, right? So if you want to remain sovereign, then that means that we have to start creating our own. And it may look challenging, but believe it, it is possible. Why is it possible? Because look, for example, if you come to our institutions, our academic institutions, okay, we have engineers, we have computer engineers. So what are we doing? We are creating solutions, okay, but just that the solutions that we are creating get to a certain stage and we don't have that opportunity to expand it. So if, for example, maybe an industry group will want certain hardware, what stops that industry from sponsoring the academia? We want to do this. Could you partner with us? Let's get this solution. Because don't forget, the academia, we also have partners all over the globe where we can get ideas from to come up with these solutions. Because that is what China and these other countries, they've done, okay? I mean, if you pick a country like Estonia, I mean, theirs is not more of the hardware. Like, they've created digital platforms that ensures their sovereignty. They started somewhere, okay? It's better we start somewhere than thinking that it's not possible. Whilst others are doing it, look, in some few years to come, you will see that more countries will become sovereign. What about Africa? What about Ghana? Okay, currently most of the infrastructure as well as the cloud services that we are using, most of them are outside. Why don't we start creating our own? And it is good for all of us to know that, for example, at the academia, the research projects that we are doing, okay, now we've even gone far ahead now to start working on getting them implemented, okay? But you see, this, we can't do it all alone. That is why I want to collaborate with the industry. Let's work hand in hand to get some of these things done. When it comes to, for example, AI, when it comes to our institution, I mean, it's good. We are churning out a lot of AI solutions. AI solutions. You know, some years ago, we were not able to do that. Okay, and I believe it's not only with GamePad, there are other institutions as well that are coming up with AI solutions because we are encouraging the youth, we are encouraging the young ones that they can do it. And believe it, they are doing it. Currently, GamePad, we are even automating almost all our processes, and the solutions are coming from our students. So it is possible. We'll move away from the software and also start now building our own hardware solutions, okay? Because if you don't build our own hardware solutions, it will be difficult to become so sovereign. Because the people that you are importing these things from, they also have their clauses, other things. If you buy their hardware, you also have to use their software. Okay, so that is what I want to say. And then I think there was one question on, so for example, you have a problem, okay, how to deal with your managers, okay. What I would say is that there is what we call security by design, okay. Any security solution that you are proposing, it should be part of the organization's goals. And to do that, you have to engage the management team when you are proposing the solution. Don't wait till you are done, till you now start engaging them. It doesn't work that way. If you wait till you have your solution, now you go to them, this is what I've done, they will think that it's even expensive. But once you engage them right from the start, okay, so you've asked us to do this. This is what we are doing, These are the challenges that we are having. These are the solutions that we are proposing. It will cost. You've already involved them in the design of the solution. And when they now have to approve it, at least it becomes a little bit easier than proposing your solution and then selling it to them when they are now looking at the cost-benefit analysis. Okay, so for example, when it comes to security, they will be checking how much will it cost us to have this solution? If there is any threat, how much would that also cost us? If they realize that the threat cost is lower than the proposed solution, they won't buy into it. Okay, but if you let them know that today we may be okay, but in the near future, what can happen to us? Then at least we meet ourselves halfway. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So we'll not be taking any questions anymore. All right. We have actually come to the end of our panel discussion. I'm just going to give 30 seconds to each panelist to just give us a closing remark, whatever they have for the finalists and our audience who are here. The finalists will be engaging in their tournament, God willing, tomorrow. Any encouraging words, any final remarks for them? Yes, Doc, we can begin with you and then you could just pass the microphone down.
I think I've already said a lot, but what I want to say is that it's great to be young. Okay, it's great to be young. Okay, though I'm not that old, but now I struggle to study you. Okay, so what I want to encourage us is that this is the time that we can take advantage. Let's learn, let's be innovative. There is nothing that is impossible. That is one thing I've realized. Once you set your heart to get it done, you can do it. And also take advantage of the people that you have around you. Ask relevant questions. Seek knowledge, and you'll be at the top. Thank you.
Thank you.
So it's my turn, right?
Yes.
Okay, so just to add to what Doc has said, learn as much as you can and network. Okay, network. Make sure that you make friends and you collaborate. Because from here, you're going to go out there, and it's actually the people around you that are going to make you. So network. From here, for example, I'm going to take the number of everybody. Okay, so right after we leave here, I'm going to network with everybody, because that really is what you need to progress. So just learn as much as you can and then network.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Isaac.
What I would say, first of all, is one person can't know it all. You need to collaborate and share. Yeah. What makes the criminal world so strong is they share. However, when you come to our side of the world, we are sitting in our own spaces and working, fighting the same battle in silos. We need to come together and then collaborate and share the information. I'm not saying share your flags in the competition, but right after that, you enter a space where you need to be able to, you see something I mean, without compromising personal information or anything, but technical information. I've seen these IOCs on this ransomware that attack. You can also help another organization achieve it. And also ensure that as a cybersecurity professional, you are accredited with the Cybersecurity Authority. Because once you're operating in the space without the needed accreditation, you are being unethical in your operations. So ensure that that is also done. You can speak to the team at the back of the table. There's a table there with the Cybersecurity Authority personnel there. Speak to them and know how you can go about this. That's why we are also here, to ensure that we bring all of us into the space. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Joseph.
So all that I would say is the secret to your future is hidden in your daily routine. So just be intentional about how you live on a daily basis. So with the roadmaps you've set, with the CTFs, just take it one step at a time, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. They are all part of the learning curve. Thank you.
I just want to say something different that anybody hasn't said, but well, I'll say teachable. The skills that you have, okay, I don't want to sound old, but our generation, we like sharing a lot, okay? We like sharing information about ourselves, our status, what are our pages and stuff. But please try to be teachable in terms of when you are sharing some of this information, share things which can indicate people. Like I said, you are the persons that very near future we're going to be collaborating with in a lot of things. I think I'm permitted to say this, but we've been working with OOSEC for some time now. And something is going to be announced very soon on the national stage. And you'll see the work we've done and the height which have reached, the top level of government. Okay, so be teachable, teach people about the skills and things that you're doing, but please break it down a bit. The technical terms sometimes confuse it, so that's what I want to add. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So my last words, when it comes to sovereignty of digital sovereignty, I think it's everyone's business. And then for the players, one thing I'll say is that let's not put ourselves in a box. Okay, let's not be jack of all trades, master of none. I see that a lot. Okay, but let's try and master our craft, even though we might know other domains. I know that most of the CTFs we play is around application, right? Let's explore APIs. Let's explore cloud. Let's explore IoT. Let's explore AI. Okay, let's look at other areas, network and infrastructure. Okay, these are all areas that we can actually look at. So let's not put ourselves in a box, and then let's play safe. All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for coming. Thank you, all our panelists. Thank you for your massive contribution, and thank you for pouring out into us. And thank you for everyone who came, the finalists, other guests, and high-profile dignitaries. We celebrate you and we thank you for coming. I would be handing over to Karen now. So yes, we can.
A better round of applause for them. Okay, please don't go yet. Let's take a picture, please. Hello, everyone. I hope we learned something from the panel discussions. Okay, so let's take some few minutes to stretch a bit, yeah? Let's just walk around for some 2 minutes, and then we'll come back to take our experts' presentations. We really apologize for the time. We'll make the experts'
presentations very, very quick. So if you can walk around for a few minutes, we'll come back again to take the experts' presentation.
Every click, every byte, and every connection matters. A new kind of warfare has emerged. Nations, businesses, and individuals face an unseen enemy: cyber threats. Ghana, like many developing nations, stands at a critical crossroad. Our youth are talented, ambitious, and digitally curious, but too many lack the right platforms to explore cybersecurity in a guided, impactful way. The question in the heart of Tamale, a youth-led technology company, Data Systems Ghana Limited, asked itself that very question. What began as an idea to inspire, train, and challenge young people soon evolved into a national movement. The vision: to create a platform where passion meets purpose, where young minds could test their skills, defend systems, and understand the real power of cybersecurity. But as every great vision grows, so does the need for strong allies. Recognizing the need to scale, Data Systems Ghana Limited opened its doors to another cybersecurity powerhouse, 00sec. Together, they formed a partnership built on trust, innovation, and a shared mission to build a safer digital Ghana. This collaboration ignited a spark that pushed BRCTF beyond the walls of Tamale to reach students, professionals, and dreamers across the nation. That vision gave birth to Break the Code CTF, BRCTF, an annual cybersecurity hackathon designed not just as a competition, but as a journey, one that unlocks the next generation of Ghana's cybersecurity professionals. The second edition marked a turning point. Sponsors, partners, and tech enthusiasts rallied behind the cause, and among them stood Dynamic Data Solutions, DDS, a renowned technology company that believed in the power of opportunity. DDS didn't just sponsor, they opened doors, sponsoring the branding of the second edition and welcoming outstanding participants into their professional family. One of those beneficiaries stands as a shining example of what BRCTF truly represents: growth, resilience, and opportunity. Let's hear the story of a young participant who turned a weekend competition into a lifelong career.
So I'm Joseph Yago, and I participated in the BRCTF 2023 and 2024 edition. Currently, I'm working as a SOC analyst at Dynamic Data Solutions. I discovered BRCTF through a LinkedIn post. So from the LinkedIn post, I clicked on the link and registered. So that's how it all began.
Hello.
So in the beginning, I was a solo player for the 2023 qualifiers. So from there, we were able to meet face-to-face. The BRCTF team was able to get me a team player. Now, as we were just to be able to secure the third place position, which I can't work for. Then after that, we
made it our goal that we will win the next year's BRCTF. So we got to know ourselves better, and Ben and Midnight Candle, playing CTF games and other styles, doing other cybersecurity research together and sharing knowledge. Through that, we were able to master our craft, and we were able to secure first place for the BRCTF 2024. After topping first the BRCTF 2024 edition by God's grace, I was able to get a job opportunity at Diamond.
Hi. Hello. Please let's get seated so we can wrap up with our expert presentations.
Which are written and being able to get the certification. Skills earned from the BRCTF has enabled me to.
Please get seated so we can wrap up with our expert presentations.
Work pressure. During my CTF, I was motivated to learn more, because the more you learn, the more you see that you haven't learned much. And also, the challenge that stood out was the lock picking.
Are we ready? We'll be done very soon, okay? Please bear with us. Okay? Please bear with us. The guys at the back, can you please find seats? Get seated. Please let's get seated so we can continue. Before we go ahead with the rest of the event, I have some messages from some of our sponsors to you. This is from the Cybersecurity Authority, and they're asking me to tell you that providing cybersecurity services as a professional or entity without obtaining a license or accreditation from the Cybersecurity Authority is illegal and liable to consequences as stipulated in the Act 1038, the Cybersecurity Act 1038. And also, they've asked me to tell you that they have set up a booth at the back. So please, let's turn to the left side at the back. Cybersecurity, please, can you wave? Please wave. Great, so they are at the back. You can see them so that they assist you with whatever you need, okay? So please, see them. Do not go to jail because you don't have license. Be an share Ghana. So we need paper in krata pan na se abansa so mu a. Wo be kire wo pan ye. So please, let's see them. They are here. You only have to go to their offices. They have met you right here to provide services to you. And also Deloitte, as part of the Cybersecurity Awareness Month, is offering some subsidized discounts on some of their services they provide. So in celebration of the Cybersecurity Awareness Month, Deloitte Cyber is offering limited time discounts on a range of essential cybersecurity and cybersecurity services. So choose from their rich packages or customize your own solution to fit your unique needs. So from external vulnerability assessment, internal vulnerability assessment, one application pen test, network device configuration review, mobile application review, and many others. When you see them, they will offer you some good discounts for your needs. Please, are we okay? Have we gotten that? Have we gotten that, please? People do something, then I'll start speaking Ga again. You enjoy me speaking Ga to you? It's okay. But let's get into our expert presentation. We're going to make it very snappy so that we can have some rest, okay? We want to invite Mr. Ryan Michael Mensah, and he's going to take us through the automation-ready SOC, a blueprint for a future-proof security operation. So, Mr. Ryan Michael Mensah, if you are here, in the next 10 minutes, take us through.
Hi guys, I've been told I have 10 minutes back. So today we'll be talking about an automation ready SOC for future-proof security operations. Now, how many of you work in security operations? SOC analyst, any SOC analyst in the house, we have a word. Any of you use WhatsApp, Elastic, OpenCTI, and all of that? So this is going to be a very little session for everyone who works in the SOC or everyone who has had any interaction whatsoever with security operations. Now, my name is Ryan. My business is security engineer with WC. But can't you pick one? Right? How is routing in this bottleneck? But the other guy's phone, I gave it to you yesterday.
Does this look familiar to any one of you who works in SOC? Alert overload, drowning in alerts, a whole lot of alerts, logs, alerts. In fact, sometimes if you open a dashboard and you don't even know what to do, especially as a junior analyst, right? Now that could be so daunting, right? Now the thing is that we have spent a lot of money on so many tools. OpenCTI, WhatsApp, Elastic, what? You can mention them, there are a lot. You enter a security operations center, command center, and there's a big screen with so many dashboards. Now let's be honest, how many of us are really looking at those dashboards and trying to coordinate alerts? And if you're doing that, you agree with me that it's really, really tiring, right? It's really, really exhausting to do that. And it leads to analyst burnout. Most SOC analysts, what I get from them is that they get really exhausted very, very quickly due to the amount of logs that they go through in a day, right? Now, when you do that, you slow down. And in the area of security, you can't afford to be slow, or you can't afford to be slower than your attacker, right? Or slower than the adversary. So, and in the advent of AI, you hear a lot of AI powered this, AI powered that. Right now, you just slap AI onto everything, and hey, it's a solution. AI is going to replace software engineers. AI is going to replace SOC analysts and whatnot. But like, personally, that's all just hype. Because as you find out, you realize that, according to research, 80% of AI projects
in companies have failed. Why? Because they promised this. Just buy a single driving AI platform. I'm selling an AI platform, fix it in your system or your company, and boom, that's it. It works. You've been told it will replace all your tier one analysts. Now, how many of us are juniors here, like junior analysts, junior software developer? You've been told that AI is going to take your job, AI is going to replace you. That's all just hype. Fire and forget. Just set it, leave it, and the AI works on its own, right? But the truth is that 80% of AI projects are failing. Why? Because you can't build a skyscraper on a weak foundation. Most companies don't even know what they want. They haven't even properly identified the problem. And they have been presented with AI solutions. And because AI is a fancy new word, hey, here's my money. You see that? So these black boxes do not integrate with your unique processes and lead to wasted money. Right? So you might have your own SIEM, you might have your own threat intelligence platform, you might have your own vulnerability detection platform. But when someone brings an AI-powered tool to you to use, that's a whole new tool altogether. Do you get? Now you have to figure out how to use their platform. It doesn't integrate with yours. So no matter how cool AI is, it becomes a problem because it doesn't integrate to your workflows. It doesn't gel with what you're used to. And in HR, my mom, before she retired, she was the senior HR manager for Zipnet. She always talked about change management. When you're working with people, how they change and adopt to new technology can be very, very daunting. So, what is the automation strategy? So, the first thing is to, one, audit. Now, you don't start building automations by just going to buy the shiny tool out there, right? You start by listening. What are your pain points in security operations? Working in a SOC, what are your pain points, right? Then you centralize. How can I bring OpenCTI Waza, Elastic, or my ticketing system into one central platform and make me a better analyst. That's what you see here, an augmented analyst, not a replaced one. So I have good news for tier one operators. You are not going to be replaced by AI. Your operations are rather going to be augmented or accelerated by AI. So let's look at what we are going to do. So before, when you see an alert, you check whether the agent is IP. When it's an IP you don't know, you have to correlate on OpenTTI, check if it's malicious, go back and forth between dashboards, which takes a lot of time and it's a lot of work. I call it the swivel chair analyst, right? You are moving from one dashboard to the other and to the other. Now, the solution is what I call the conversation SOC, where all your security tools are tied to one central platform, and you can have natural language conversation with all your dashboards platform. So here's how it works. Okay, so over here, you can, I'm sorry I couldn't do a live demo now because this agent is connected to a lab that the faculties are going to use tomorrow. So, and the agent was able to pick up on vulnerabilities and certain things that they have to figure out tomorrow. So I can't do a live demo. I've only been allowed to just show screenshots of what this AI SOC analyst can do. Now, mind you, this AI SOC analyst is tied to your system, right? It's built to what you have. So if you have Waza, if you have Elastic, if you have Plan, what have you, it's going to be tailor-made for your system. So you are not bringing anything for you just have what you are used to. So as you can see, I sent a message, how many machines are we monitoring? And they responded, we are currently monitoring 4 machines. So if you want to have an overview of your threat landscape, of your infrastructure, you can ask these questions in natural language without going through different dashboards and doing, different complicated things. So how to do that? So you can see, provide the names and IP addresses of the machines being monitored. And as you can see, it was able to give us I had to clear them out because of the competition tomorrow. So, and with this system, you can prompt in natural language to give you a risk assessment of your entire infrastructure. Now, doing that, trust me, I've worked in security since 2023 professionally, and security assessments takes time, right? You have to go through each machine or each endpoint, find out, open ports, what is connected to and what's not. And now you are doing all of that in natural language as a SOC analyst. So a tier one could come into a company and be doing analysis that a tier two or tier three is supposed to be doing. This is what I refer to as the augmented SOC analyst, right? Where the SOC analyst doesn't have to go through dashboards and sort out many different painful alerts. It can be very painful. Those working in SOC and test, but you can query your dashboard in natural language. You can see the finalists are trying to pick out some clues. I think our minutes not what needs to be done. Yes. So, and not only that, when there are issues in your system, the AI SOC analyst can recommend actions for you to take immediately. So it reduces your mean time to response. So instead of going around on Google asking your senior engineer what to do, when it does the analysis, it recommends actions for you to take immediately. So you are effectively cutting down mean time to respond from 20-30 minutes to a minute and a half or 2 minutes. Now, the real value of an automation tool, not just package tool presented to you to plug into your system, which does not connect to anything in your environment. This connects to context and you try it out. And you can spend it up in your own SOC at work, right? Right? So thank you very much. My name is Daniel.
Thank you so much, Ryan Michael. It's a round of applause for him. Policy company turning VATs into CPEs and building POCs for floors. And the thing has messed up the thing again, so it's not coming. I mean, they feel let's welcome.
But I want to go. Okay. Scary one. Right in time. Well, the thing is not. Yeah. No, they don't talk. So when it's not picking the thing. Look how what's on the phone. It is. Okay, so let's get into a presentation. So a little bit about, right? My name is, I think it's someone here. That's my legal name. I'm popularly known by the areas concerned. I like to describe myself as a computer power, right? Basically, someone who loves computers and loves to learn about computers. Lastly, I'm interested in vulnerability research and application security. So that's just a little bit about. Okay, so for the presentation outline, I already talked about it. Today we are going to talk about how to identify vulnerabilities, right? And then how to incorporate CVEs, right? CVEs and vulnerabilities are different things. Speak about both of them. And then the other section is writing a POC or an exploit. So let's begin. So what exactly is a CVE? So the full meaning of the CVE is common vulnerability exposure, right? So a CVE is basically an active principle in the system. You can see later slide over here. So when vulnerabilities are identified in the system, what's a way to be able to track them and know which vulnerabilities are affecting something? So CVEs help us be able to do that. Right? This is the structure, this is an example structure of what the CVE looks like. It is made of three sections, right? The first thing is the CVE string, which is constant for almost every CV. The second one is the year that particular vulnerability was discovered or that particular CV was assigned. Then lastly, the vulnerability ID, the specific vulnerability ID. So let's move on. Okay, so why does finding CVs matter in the first place, right? Why should we find CVs in the first place? Now, one of the main reasons is to raise security awareness. Anytime there's maybe a new vulnerability in some particular software, we want a way to be able to raise awareness. And with CVEs, we are able to do that. But we are given vulnerability specific things. So CVEs help us be able to raise awareness about vulnerabilities in software. So if you look at CLAs, right, I'll talk about CLAs later on, but they are just bodies that assign CVEs. Like anytime they assign a CVE, they publish it online, like probably on Twitter or some other social media platform. So that alone is able to raise awareness about that particular vulnerability. Yeah. The next thing, another reason why finding CVEs matter is to keep track of known vulnerabilities, right? And keeping track of known vulnerabilities helps us to patching vulnerabilities. So, for example, if we find some particular vulnerability in some software, the CVEs allows us to be able to track that particular vulnerability and then remediate it later on. Okay. The next thing I'll talk about is promoting vendor accountability. Now, when a CVE is assigned, right, process of CVA assignment, right, it puts pressure on the vendor, patch that particular vulnerability. So it helps provide greater accountability. An example is if, for example, vulnerability is found in maybe probably Microsoft Word or something, right? The CVE, the process of doing the CVE, I'll wait to talk about it. It forces the vendor to cash out the vulnerability. And also, the vendor doesn't want to get tarnished, or doesn't want the image to get tarnished in front of the because when the CVE is released and there's no patch for it, like it's a concern, right? So it places pressure on vendors to patch